بعض النساء وللأسف الشديد إذا راحت حفلة زواج أو راحت حفلة غير الزواج تتزين وتتشيك للنساء، حتى ما يقولون والله فلانة شكلها مو زين أو شكلها عليه كذا. أما زوجها أبدا شعثاء غبراء ما تتجمل ولا تتزين له، يمكن في بدايات الزواج بس، أما بقية الأيام فلا، ولا تعتني بزوجها. حتى أن بعض الأزواج يقول لي والله مرة من المرات أنا يعني تعجبت لما خرجت زوجتي وهي تريد الذهاب إلى الحفلة ما عرفتها. يقول ما عرفت أن هذه زوجتي، من المكياج ومن التشيك ومن التجمل الشيء العجيب. يقول أنا وينها عني، ويني عنها يعني. فلذلك على المرأة أن تتقي الله، من حق الزوج على زوجته أن تتجمل له وأن تتزين له. فهذا التشيك للحفلات الزوج أولى به. أنا ما أقول لا تتشيك إذا راحت في حفلة زواج ولا حفلة نجاح ولا أي اجتماع، لكن وين حق الزوج؟
Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hope you're doing well. So, this sheikh had a great point where he was showing something that I've seen some other women talk about how women will not try to dress to impress their husbands, but will for other people. And this opens up a huge discussion, because with that, you get the arguments that come about of when a woman's at home, she feels more comfortable and safe and can relax. She doesn't have to be as performative. And then others mention how a woman will dress to impress her boss and customers, like in the workplace, but when she comes home, she just looks really sloppy for her husband. And women get really angry at this because there's this how would you put it? There's like a denial. Like, oh, well, my husband knows I'm pretty, therefore I should be able to just be natural around him and he should like me for the way I really look instead of the way I am with a bunch of adornments. And there's a point to that. And I would also argue that when the children are small, like you have a 2-month-old, a child under 1 year, let's say under 2, because some toddlers are 2 years old, they're little mini tornadoes, and having the time to look really fancy, it can be quite difficult when, you know, you want to be in like loose clothing so that you can chase that kid around, and, you know, having a full face of makeup on while your husband's at work, and then just to, when he comes home for, you know, first 20-30 minutes, and having to wash it all off before bed. Some of it just seems very wasteful. And then also women who don't know how to do their makeup, right? So I get if the children are in the first grade, they're gone from 8:20 to 2:30. Middle school, it's usually 8:20 to 3:30. And, you know, if your husband isn't home during those hours, you don't really need to put it, but let's say it's his day off. Kids are at school, you know, you could put on some makeup or something, but when you go to do wets up your mascara, it really messes it up. So, and then if you go to bed with that makeup on, it gives you a bunch of acne. And I know that there's some hypoallergenic, however it's pronounced, you know, non-pore clogging stuff, but at the same time, when you're exhausted and then you gotta wash all that makeup off, you know, it takes time, and then, you know, it's like, what even for? So I think there's many ways to just take care of yourself. I think that natural beauties, women who are just like very fresh and clean, the glow of their skin and the brightness of them, you know, shines through, and they don't really need makeup. You know, they don't need to powder their face to look like a Chinese geisha woman. They can just be fresh and clean. And I noticed that you can just take a shower, have nice smelling hair, and, you know, deodorant on, your feet are, you know, you've shaved the, you scrubbed the dead skin off your ankles, you got nice feet, you moisturize, your cuticles are looking good, your lips aren't chapped, you know, that can go a long way with just how you feel and how you present yourself, your energy. So adorning yourself, I don't think, is always necessarily around makeup. It can also mean that maybe you have a special nightie that you wear for your husband when the kids go to bed that's a little bit more sensual. Or when the kids are at school, he has a day off, maybe you wear something a little bit more sensual around the home that you wouldn't wear in front of the kids, and you lounge around in it just so that he can have that eye candy. There's a lot of fun ways to make your husband feel special and not neglected. But, for example, you know, if you have long hair and you want to braid it and put it up in a bun because, like, while you're nursing your baby, while you're cleaning, you literally don't want your hair getting in the chemicals and, like, blocking your face, you know? The male guitar players will, like, shake their head and have, like, their hair waving around. And, you know, as a mom, you're like, I want it tight, secured, out of my way because I have things to do. You know, I'm not trying to dust my own hair out of my face constantly. So it depends on the age of your child, you know, how fancy you get. But, for example, I have like really nice beads that I used to put in my hair, like these metal Viking looking beads. They're like handmade. You know, you can put a braid in your hair, have a bead, like you can do little things to look, you know, different every day. You know, you can even have special undergarments that you can wear for your husband. But this shift just a friendly reminder, in my opinion, how women will go above and beyond to not be gossiped about by other nasty women, but they will feel too comfortable with their husbands. And I do think that when a woman knows her husband's chained into polygamy, and I mean not chained into polygamy, chained into monogamy, that she kind of feels like the battle's won, the stag is stabled, the horse is saddled, the dragon is chained, he's not going anywhere, and if he goes anywhere, you'll deny him his kids. So there's that threat of, if you don't do what I say, if you divorce me, you won't see your kids. So a lot of women can get complacent and even let themselves go because they don't have any dread or any excitement that any woman would want their husband. They've kind of gotten to know their husband's farts and his stupid habits, and they get like, ugh, you know, he's nothing special. But they forget that the outside woman who doesn't know that side of him sees him as something new, something spicy, something exotic, something refreshing, new meat. So I think a lot of women forget that. And motherhood is like, it's a hard task. So I think every stage of a woman's life, she has to analyze, like, okay, how do I keep my husband entertained? How do I make sure he doesn't get complacent and bored? You know? I think that it's interesting as well. I saw a meme that had showed like old grandma pajamas, and it said like, our mammies were wearing these and they had, you know, 10 kids, so they must have been doing something right. Which, you know, there's some old school wisdom there. Like, these women, you know, I mean, yeah, they didn't have birth control, but it wasn't like they were being neglected by their husbands. Although today, men have lower testosterone, some of them prefer to smoke weed and play video games, and the women prefer to scroll on Instagram. So we're getting more divided by our devices as well, and we kind of forget about each other. But old school way, if you look at it, great grandmas had that pep in their step back in the day, and they knew how to, you know, corral a man in a more creative fashion. And if you look at how many men cheat, we don't have all the data because, you know, it's like they're not just gonna complete a survey and say I cheated on my wife 12 times, right? But the type of women they choose are usually very adorned. And you're like, huh, That's painful for a woman, especially if she's working hard with the kids. And a man's true nature comes out with the first 2 years of his child. He sees how much his wife is stressed. And if she doesn't have a support system, if she's doing everything by herself, like she doesn't have family members or trusted friends to help her, there's even more of a mental pressure on her. And I know a lot of feminists like to pretend they be boss babe, super Wonder Woman, do it all. But the reality is, too much stress really frazzles a woman, dries her out, and she just looks jaded and shaken up, and she's not really in her flow state and in her feminine energy, because she's just in pure, raw, ghastly survival mode. So she kind of forgets about what she looks like because she's just trying to survive. And when you're thriving versus surviving, your outer appearance will show. That's why it's really important as well for moms to have their relaxation time, and for a husband to have finances to allow her to go to a massage, to go to a spa, to buy the skincare products she needs, the stuff that she likes to make herself pretty for you. Because some men may at first think that it's trivial to get those things, but if her self-esteem gets eroded, she's not going to adorn herself for you as much. But also, if she likes you, she's going to try to find a way to keep you. And I think if you get a very dominant feminist woman, she'll adorn herself, but it's not for you. It's really for the other fish that she's trying to bait. Because no woman adorns themselves for the submissive male, because they know the submissive male orbiter will always be there like a dog with his tongue out, so there's really no need to put in any effort. So if you pick a woman who really liked you, like she was crazy about you, very enthusiastic about you, chances are she's not going to let herself go as easy. But I think if you pick the woman and she feels like she's settled for you, she can get bored of you faster. That's my opinion. That's what I've noticed. Of course, there's exceptions to everything. But, and also women get very angry if you remind them, like, hey, do something special for your husband. I mean, I've seen countless reels on Instagram where women are, like, mocking their husbands and complaining that their husbands desire them because they're so out-touched. They are overstimulated. They just want to be left alone, which you can kind of understand, because you're like, yeah, if you're not sleeping through the night, that's really rough on your mental health. But if your kid's sleeping through the night, you're getting enough rest, then you have to really check yourself, because you can get lost in your own depression, and you can forget about others around you, and you become more selfish. And then this pushes your husband away and causes him to have that feeling of wanting to cheat. And so, if you're going to force your husband to be monogamous, you have to make sure that you try to look nice for him and the ways in which he likes. There are some women who will dress a certain way and it doesn't please their husbands. And if you tell a woman, hey, find out what your husband likes, ask him, what does he want you to do? What is something you can do to keep his attention, to make him feel special? To be like, misogynist, sexist. What do you think we are, slaves? Like they'll just go on and on and on. And I've noticed this because I've spent so much time conversing with these feminists, so I'm familiar with their arguments. So it's important for people to recognize, hey, your husband has needs. You should care about those needs if you want him to care about yours. It's reciprocity. And so there's also some things men can do to help. Maybe she says, hey, here, hold the baby while you shower. Or you're going to go work out, put the baby in the car seat, and let it nap by you, like while you work out. There's things couples can do to help each other have time to rejuvenate themselves. Or, hey, take the kids to the park while I take a cat nap so I can feel refreshed. Because when a woman is not getting enough sleep, she's more irritable, catty, and her mental health deteriorates. So if she's not adorning herself because she's going through survival mode, you got to fix that survival mode. And Other than that, I think it would just be pure lack of desire. And a lot of women think they don't have to work on desire. It should all be up to the man to court her, to sway her, to entice her, to romanticize her. It's all up to him. She has to do nothing besides be a starfish and sit at the table and just do nothing. Right? Just a frozen statue. You know, an idol. Like, to literally be like an idol. Just standing there as the man comes and begs and grovels for a little sugar. No. So, don't neglect your husband, because if you want to keep him, and you don't want to be a single mom living in the welfare and the projects, and you like having male energy around, and you want to have him, you know, still be excited about you, think of the things you can do. And it's not always possible every day, but make it a habit, you know? Make it a habit, because he deserves to feel special too. You know? Because what if like, I remember one time, my husband would sometimes put on cologne when he goes to work, back in the day. He's like, you're not supposed to wear a cologne to restaurants. But he also does other side hustles as well. But I'd be like, you wear cologne out there, but you don't wear it for me. And when you come home, you smell like food. I smell food all day. Can you wear that nice cologne? Why? I'm in the house. There's no point. Well, the point is for me. You know? And so, that I can, like, he listened to me. So, why wouldn't I listen to him if he requested something? Right? There's little things, like, if you want him to do something, you need to make sure you're putting your best foot forward as well. You know what I mean? So just something to think about. I know women always get angry when another woman gives them advice about something, or says, you know, ponder on this, ponder on that. Women hate it. They just want to hear men are evil, men are trash, men are pigs. This gets them happy. But they get very upset if you're like, hey, maybe you did this, maybe you should do that. You know, so that feminist mindset of no one can tell me nothing, I'm always 100% right. Don't judge me, or you're a misogynist, or you have internalized misogyny. This is why those women are just popping pills and chugging Chardonnay. They're just very miserable women. And you don't want to be with them, because misery loves company. And misery is not going to help you feel like life is great. So, think about it. Let me know what you have to say. And if you disagree or agree, word it in a way that's palatable to read, so we all can learn from it and see your point. Please like, comment, subscribe, and join the blog.